Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. How's everybody doing tonight? I'm here with Alan Johnson, the Intuitive, and we're here to answer your political questions. Thanks for joining us. How you doing, Alan?
I'm doing well. Susan, you look lovely tonight.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you so much. And Alan tells me I'm wearing the Swiss cross for being like
I'm wearing my neutrality.
He's going to be neutral tonight, right?
Fair and balanced coverage.
Fair and balanced coverage, and for entertainment purposes only. We got a message from an attorney client of Alan's to say for entertainment purposes only at the beginning of our show. So thanks for joining us tonight. We're going to dive right in because that's how we do here. Alan and I are both psychics. We're intuitives. And this is just our thoughts and impressions on what is happening in the world.
And Susan, just a quick review of the ground rules. I think our longtime viewers, meaning since January or since November, no sports or math questions. And then the tiebreaker, in case Susan and I can't handle something or it's beyond our ability, we have Magic 8 Ball here.
We have the Magic 8 Ball. So we have backup, y'all. Do not worry. We have backup.
All right. Hit it, honey.
Let's get after it. Teresa Stevens says, I've been hearing some psychics say there will not be a civil war in the U.S., but there will be a dissolution. Do you see that as well? I'm not sure what a dissolution means. I'm going to tell you guys, and Alan is welcome to disagree or agree on my channel. Everybody, does their own thing. I don't see a civil war. Look, the energy is civil war-ish, right? You have people in families disagreeing, brother against brother, brother against mother, very civil war energy-like. We're not going to do a civil war. Biden is not playing. He's a Scorpio. He's going to go down to the border. He's going to get these states under control. A dissolution, whatever energy that I see that the guides have often said dissolution, dissolving, and Alan can talk about the astrology a little bit. This is not going to happen this year, next year, you guys. We're simply just trying to figure out what do we want, right? We get an opportunity to say, well, we had this crazy ex-president. What do we want? What do Americans want? How do we want our Supreme Court to rule? Because frankly, they're supposed to rule the way the public wants them to rule. That's how we got civil rights. They finally bended. They finally said, wow, Americans really want this. They're in the streets. They're completely for this. We're going to change. We're going to change, right? So this is kind of what I see happening. It's really more about us shaping, telling the Supreme Court, telling the president, telling Congress what we want. What do you see there, Alan? Jump in.
I don't disagree with you on your channel. You know that.
No, you absolutely have to disagree with me.
We're forming a more perfect union. This is part of our experiment in democracy. It's like any relationship. Can this marriage be saved? We're going through a rough patch right now, and we're getting help. And sometimes it takes a lot of chaos to bring those issues up to the surface. So I think, again, Heather Cox Richardson, who I try to follow every day, is a historian, and she frames much of what we're going through today in a historical perspective. And I so appreciate a speech that she quoted, excerpts from Abraham Lincoln, where he spoke about the Union. So I think there are always going, like in any relationship, there are going to be constant refinements. And as Susan has been saying for a number of months, this will result in a different kind of government, perhaps not vastly so, but we'll be tightening things up, we'll be refining it, and we'll be bringing it into the 21st century. So I think also the idea of a civil war is that we have, again, in a marriage, we have to come to some sort of agreement to live together to make it work out.
That's an amazing analogy of a marriage. holy crap, I'm married to these MAGAs. Okay, I want a divorce. I'm just telling you right now, I'm filing for divorce. But I
get a good attorney. Get a good attorney.
I get a good attorney. He's absolutely right. And if you guys don't know who Heather Cox Richardson is, my God, Google her, sign up for her free email. She sends a letter to Americans. She's a historian, as Alan said. She will keep you sane. She will literally keep you sane. And she sends this free email every day, except for I think one day she takes off a week. So check her out, Heather Cox Richardson. You can Google her. Okay.
Highly recommended.
Highly recommended. Super good. Our spouse, Valerie says our spouse needs better medications. It's so true. It's so true. Wow. Thank you guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Alan, do you want to throw one up on the screen?
I am.
Okay, good.
This is sort of in that same vein. We in our role as debunkers. So yes and no. I mean, just the same as a civil war, I think a civil war could be fought not by on a battlefield, but on a much more symbolic battlefield. And I think that we're already being, I don't want to say attacked, but you know, there's been foreign infiltration in our elections. There's been foreign infiltration in our media, and that's maybe the level it's going to take. Not to say that there won't be any surprises in terms of terrorist attacks, but this is a very, very tight administration, I would say. It just feels like, I'm not saying nothing can happen, but I think it's buttoned up really tight right now in terms of our, but something like and we have to stop thinking about something like the Twin Towers. What about taking out an electrical system? What about taking out internet? It's those types of things that I think are much more surgical.
Yes. Much more likely. And Alan, do me a favor and read the question, because honestly,
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. My viewers are doing the laundry. They're, you know, who knows what they're doing. We don't want to know. Don't tell us. But anyway,
they're nails. They're nails.
They may not be in front of the computer right now. So DT, Donald Trump says, will be attacked by foreign terrorists. He should know he sold info. It's true. So he came out in a video recently and he said it's 100% likely that we're going to be attacked by terrorists. I mean, listen, these Republicans sell one thing, and well, I take that back. They sell influence. They sell a lot of things, but they also sell fear. So, you know, this is selling fear. And I agree with Alan 100%. I don't know what it is about Biden, but he's got the best intel. I'm not saying no one is, you know, 1,000%, right? But he has the best intel, my spirit guides say, of any president in the last, 10 presidents. I mean, I don't know what it is. He just has crack intel. So if somebody wants to do something against us here in the States, I think Alan is right. I think it might be an electrical grid. It could be anything, but I don't see a great big deal. It wouldn't take much, right, to get us PO'd. And that's another thing the guides are saying. My God, they don't want us to attack them. Iran is already saying, our bad, we're not involved. Don't come after us. Iran is already saying that. They don't want to really attack us in the United States because they will have a full-scale war, period, end of story. And I just don't think they want that. I think Alan's right. They'll do a hacking kind of thing that will be just really irritating. And I think somebody else asked about, because Alan and I were talking about it earlier, about foreign versus homegrown, right? And Alan was saying, we're more likely to have homegrown kind of incels at this point than foreign, even though the foreign might be the money behind it. The action's likely to come from our own people, sadly.
And I think it was it, remember the comic strip Pogo? I'm showing my age. I believe one of the quotes from that was, "We have met the enemy, and he is us." Yeah. So I think there's more danger from maybe sleeper cells internally, domestically, but also it's not arms merchants anymore. It's info merchants. That's that is the those are the arms. Those are the arms. So that's what we have to worry about.
When you mean info merchants, you mean like
misinfo.
Misinformation or disinformation, misinformation. For a minute there, I thought, well, you're probably talking about this too, but I thought about all those missing top secret documents, you know?
No, it's again, we're still thinking about war maybe and espionage in an old fashioned way. And it's going to be waged in hearts and minds.
Yeah. And psychoses.
Yeah. Yeah, and creating fear. I mean,
yeah.
MAGA is fear metastasized. Write that down. I got 1,000 of them. Buy low, sell high. So I think again, it's the fear. It's what was Roosevelt's term? We have nothing to fear but fear itself. So I think that's what's going to be the most debilitating: the fear, the anxiety. And, that's being created internally and externally for us.
Right. And I just feel like you guys, so two things the spirit guides are showing me. One thing is this guy, so this whole border thing down in Texas, right? So Eagle Pass is not that far from Houston. It's a couple of hours drive, which in Texas is like going to the grocery store. Anyway, this guy down in Eagle Pass, which is where this border kind of skirmish is happening, this guy gets in his pickup truck and he rides down the road on the border. And he shows you a video of the whole ride. He videos the whole thing. It's uninterrupted. And he shows you where the Humvees are and the military, the militia, whatever. And then as he goes down the road, there's the wall, that Trump built. And then there's a gate that's open, wide open, in a road. A dirt road, not a path, a dirt road that you could drive. So he drives down and there's another gate and he drives down and he goes, y'all, you're being sold a bill of goods by the media. The media is all down there at that little place where they've parked a Humvee and they've made it look like something is happening. And he kept saying, get off the media. He's like, I'm not right. I'm left. I'm not left. He's like, I'm telling you, the media is cooking your goose. You're buying a bill of goods here. And it is true. You guys know this. If there's a snowstorm, there's a news truck out there where the snowplow made the snow 10 feet high. You know what I mean? Or, in the South, we always know where the media is. It's the one place that always floods, even though everything else is not flooded. So, they gotta have eyeballs. That's what makes them the money. So I really feel like as we go forward, we have these people speaking truth to these MAGAs, and we have Nikki Haley's out there just pummeling Trump, pummeling him. So I really think this is going to start eroding, maybe not all the MAGAs, because some of them really are locked in, cray. But a lot of them that aren't totally cray-cray, I think they're really going to be, I'm not doing this. Politics is crazy. I'm not doing anything. And they're just going to walk away. What do you think, Alan?
I think the boil is going to be lanced. I mean, what's happening now is everyone is listening to, they're all lining up behind Trump, but they know that they just know it's going to collapse. And then what we're going to see, I believe Linda G said this, all the rats leaving the ship. So I think it's close. I think it's not about if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. And the very fact that Nikki Haley is saying the emperor has no clothes, that's really what's going to be happening more and more and more. Yeah. So what do you see that as a gradual process, or do you see that as a single event that unravels, or both?
To me, it feels like there's a pretty strong demarcation like something happens and everybody's just turned off. Like, it sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy. All I can do is tell you, Tucker Carlson, 1 minute he's there, next minute he's gone. There's this energy of these sudden changes. I think it is happening gradually right now, but then I think it gets to a point where people are just really turned off, and I don't know what that is. It seems impossible, doesn't it? What could Trump turn people off at this point, right? What could turn people off?
Stay tuned. We do have a question. We didn't practice this, possums, but Susan, that's a really good question. Hold the phone.
Oh my God, I don't even know what he's going to throw on the screen. There's no telling.
No, it's good. Someone asked.
I should have never given him the control.
Now I'm in control.
Yeah.
Something about, will he have a nervous breakdown in public? Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Valerie Sargent. Thank you, Valerie. We work well together. I have a question. Are we going to get to witness T having a psychotic break live on TV?
Yeah. I've seen that. I've seen him. I mean, I don't know if I would say psychotic break, but I would see, remember who was the Democratic guy who did the yell and then he was out? Like, who
from
was
Vermont.
that? From Vermont, not Bernie, the other guy. But he did the yell and everybody was like, well, that's it. You jumped the shark. You're out. So with Trump, the thing is that I see him doing something that's violent. Now, that's not going to turn the Trumpers off because I think a lot of them are violent. They want a strong man. They want a dictator. But I think it's going to get him in a lot of hot water. He's either going to throw something or there's going to be a video of him that makes him look bad. Maybe he's squirting ketchup on the walls. That's something that would make him look like a fool.
There's something, it feels very coarse and boorish, and something that, and it couldn't, it feels that it's repugnant.
Yeah, Howard Dean,
right.
Howard Dean,
it feels repugnant, and it's captured, and it can't be unseen.
Yeah, that's right.
And it not only shows that there's, hi, Elaine.
Oh, it's Elaine. Hey, Elaine.
Elaine. Not only that it shows he's off his rocker, and this is for entertainment purposes only, but that it again, the emperor has no clothes. More and more and more, it's just going to be revealed, and the handlers can't manage him. No,
they really can't. I think that's it. I think that's it right there. And hey, Kevin, the healing medium's here. Yeah, I think you're right, Alan. I think it's right now we do get a curated view, right? We really get a curated view, but I think there could be this opportunity for us to see a behind the scenes, or maybe he breaks, like you guys are saying, he just has a break and he loses his temper and he looks like a brat. He looks like a spoiled brat instead of the strong man that he thinks he looks like.
And that's the real case. People are pinning their hopes on him being a strong man, that he's going to step in and bash heads together, drain the swamp, all that. I think they're going to see a side of him. They're going to see the behind the mask.
Yeah, behind the mask. And it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be the strong man. It's not going to be Clint Eastwood, make my day. It's not going to be any of that. It's going to be a pathetic old man having a hissy fit. So what is this? Let's see. Let's move on. Hopefully
we're getting a lot of Fannie Willis.
Fannie.
Fannie. Sorry, Fannie.
There's a question about her. Well, I get it. I think Fannie is a woman who I mean, look, take her on at your own peril. You know what I mean? Like, she's a very strong woman and she knows what she's about. She's not going to make a mistake. I just don't see her making a mistake. Now, where I think Fannie Willis has a blind spot is optics. How things look, because she doesn't really care how things look because she's all about the facts. So she doesn't care about optics. She doesn't care. She cares about the facts. So I feel like She has not. She hasn't said that her and this Mr. Wade are not together. She's not said that. She's going to be talking soon, tomorrow. Sometime she's given a debriefing. It's a distraction. I don't think it's gonna be a problem. I think it's a distraction, which is a problem, but I don't think it's a real problem for the case. What do you get, Alan?
I think the case will go forward. I think that some of these people have no idea what's hit them. I mean, the viciousness of these attacks. I'm not saying nothing happened, but the Trump machine has really gone after these people, and it's substantial. It's suddenly they're in a national spotlight and quite vulnerable. So there'll be a book.
There'll be a book. Yeah, there'll be a book. I mean, we're all navigating. I mean, what I mean is like E. Jean Carroll, Jack Smith, Tish James, everybody's navigating Trump land, which is a very different experience. It's almost like trying to break down someone like John Gotti or someone like Sammy the Bull. You know what I mean? There's a lot of intimidation. It's just a different experience. I two guys wrote a book about Fani Willis that's just now coming out, and they talked about how when I believe the big court case where she announced, I think, do you guys know that she went back into her office, changed into sweatpants and a sweatshirt, a hat, and then they had some other poor lady put on Fani Willis's clothes, and they sent her in a separate car in a different direction. That's the level of death threats this woman got. This is something, you guys, we have to look at as a country. We're back in the 50s when the mob, was doing things like this. We really have to step up our game and say, we're just not going to allow this. We're not going to allow this kind of witness intimidation, judge intimidation, prosecutor intimidation. We've really got to get a handle on this, I think.
And I think it is. I think, again, because this is so unprecedented, I think that none of this it's all being recorded. I mean,
it's all being recorded
I feel confident that the legal system we have currently is all of this is duly noted and could be the evidence for future.
Yeah, I agree.
Future action.
It's a little bit like how Jan 6 happened and it was recorded, and then the Jan 6 committee went through it all with a fine-tooth comb, and then presented. It's the same energy to me. When you say that, I feel like the judicial system of the United States is looking at this, recording this, and saying, in 25, 26, we're going to deal with this because we can't have this. So it's big changes coming.
Speaking of money, when do you think that is going to come down in terms of the final amount, Susan? And the final amount I'm talking about is the New York. Is that the state? That's the by Letitia James, the business dealings, and that they would be perhaps barred from doing business in New York City and to pay an enormous fine.
Yeah, and think about it. I mean, add this to the 80 whatever million that E. Jean Carroll got. I mean, this guy is getting drained. He's literally getting drained. And the guy said money was going to be the thing. Gagging him wasn't going to work. Money is the thing. Look what happened with E. Jean Carroll. He got $5 million fine, and then they took him back and got $80-something million, and he shut up. It is money. With Trump, it's money. That's his weak spot. So with this thing, as soon as tomorrow, how much do you feel like I a long time ago, I read that it was a record. I read that it was a record amount, or the words would be, it's a record amount. Do you think it's going to be more than 370 million? Do you think it's going to be 455? What do you get a number at all?
I feel that what she suggested may be the bottom end of that. But again, they have to be, there's so much to, it feels like before it's announced, when it was supposed to be by the end of the month, right, which would be tomorrow, that they're getting security in place, that they're looking at every possible angle about what this could blow up, what could happen. So I think they also want to keep it within the realm of that it's defensible legally.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming is this subject to appeal? Or is this?
Yeah, it's subject to appeal, but he has to have a bond of a lot of money. I don't know how much, a lot of money, which some people say he doesn't have. I think he could find somebody to write him a check.
I think it's in the fours.
You think it's in the fours? Okay. So like 420, I think it might be in the fours too. 250 would be a travesty. Okay. 250 million would be a travesty. Would be a cop out, a sellout. That's what I get energy wise. I think in the 425, 400s would be about right. And they've got to yank his business license. I really don't think they wanted to do that. Somebody told me they already did it, but I'm pretty sure they have not already done that.
And that cuts,
Stone Spirit, good to see you.
That cuts to the really core of his ego.
Yeah.
And
look,
and he's got to sell. I mean, I don't know what where he goes for that money, but I think once that happens, people see that things are starting to dissolve. The dissolution term you used earlier is very apt for this.
The dissolution.
It literally is being dissolved.
Yes.
All right.
Move on. You have another question you want to throw up here?
No, ladies first. No comment. No comment.
No comment.
Pick one.
Hey, I'm wearing earrings and a necklace. Come on. I'm trying to pull it off over here.
You look marvelous.
Liz in awe. Will Dr. Ronnie Jackson have any legal professional consequences for his pill mill? I don't think so, guys. I feel like this was what the guides are telling me. It was under the auspices of the president at that time, meaning also that I don't think any. They set up their own rules, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I think this isn't the low-hanging fruit at this point. I mean, there's so much they could go after or pursue. It was a good story. I think we're going to be hearing, not that this should get a slap on the wrist, but I think we're going to be having a news mill of crises du jour for the next few months. I think it's going to be dueling crises, like bad on the Democrats, bad on the Republicans. There's going to be this tit for tat, and I think it's part of creating the chaos. Who do we believe? See, everyone's bad. You can't trust anyone.
Right. That's exactly right. So that segues. Somebody asked about Cori Bush. I don't have that right in front of me, but I'm sure several of you asked about Cori Bush. If you guys don't know, they're investigating Cori Bush, who's a Democrat out of Missouri. She's a Black lady Democrat out of Missouri, for something to do with either campaign funds or money or something like that. And, when I was talking to Alan, the thing is this, 2 months ago, we found cocaine, or they found cocaine in the White House. And then 2 months later, we get this huge, story about the pill mill, So I really feel like they're bringing out Cori Bush. They're trying to dirty up her name. They're trying to dirty up the Democrats in preparation for 5 Republicans that are really going to be really have problems. And the guides told me it was a little bit like the guy who pulled the fire alarm. Remember the guy who pulled the fire alarm when he was leaving the Congress, I think. It's that kind of like misdemeanor, kind of Mickey Mouse BS. Okay, fine. We could say, hey, we're policing Democrats too. If somebody makes a mistake or crosses a line, we need to investigate it. But I really feel like, to me, this is the Republicans projecting or trying to get out in front of some pretty bad Republican news that's coming out. And you put on here, Madison Cawthorn was right. Yep, exactly. Madison Cawthorn was right. That's why Madison Cawthorn was ejected from the game. That's why they got rid of him.
You know, several people have commented that they're weary of this. They're weary of the disharmony. They're weary of the infighting. They're weary of just the bad news. Do we want to speak perhaps a bit about some of these larger overarching themes?
Lead the way. I don't know where you're going, but I'll follow you. I'll get out my hip waders out on
God bless America. That's my Kate Smith impersonation. No, I think there are higher themes and lessons here for us. This stuff is playing out, and not that this is minutia, because it's crazy stuff. But I think that we need to remember, as Susan has said time after time, you know how this movie is going to end. We're going to be better for this. The swamp is being drained. Things, our foundation was a little iffy. We needed some work on our foundation. Our septic tank was full of roots. I'm not going to go there. Don't worry.
You were doing fine with foundation, and then you went right into the septic tank. You scared me for a minute.
That's kind of guy stuff, Susan.
Okay. Well, it's pretty true.
So I do think that we're seeing as things being cleaned up, and it's not pretty. It's not messy. I think that it stirs up anxiety within us, which is part of the intention to sow discord. And I think that there was something I wrote down. We were made for these times. We're here because we're supposed to be. We were made for these times. We're here to help build a new society, or weigh in or help build a new society. When you talked earlier, Susan, about in the past about getting out in the streets, protesting, I think there's a way we do that within ourselves as well. Stand up within ourselves rather than get out on the street, wave things. But I also think there are ways in which these can be wake-up calls for us as well. Where is this confusion? What is this confusion triggering within us? Where do we need to get right with ourselves? Where do we need to develop more integrity, more clarity, more authenticity? What we're seeing are morality tales playing out. These are just flawed human beings who got caught up in things. Not to excuse it, they made choices, but we're now seeing, the wages of sin. And I think there are learning experiences in spades here for all of us, if we can see it from that higher level. Okay, back into the muck.
I did bring my hip waders. I am wearing a red sweater, but down below, hip waders, y'all. Hip waders.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What do you think? Yes, ma'am. What other dominoes will collapse when Putin does?
The question is, when is Putin going to collapse? That's the $1 million question. But first of all, that's such a great question. Yeah. First of all, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but Putin and Trump are got some energetic cord. So when one goes, not too much longer, the other one goes. So we're going to get a twofer, which is pretty nice. And I feel like that's this year, although timing has not been super great. But I don't see Trump. I just don't see Trump. And I'm going to ask you, Alan, I don't see Trump getting through the first trial. Do you see him going through a bunch of criminal trials? Like being present?
I don't think he's capable. No, I don't. I agree with you. And I think there's a confluence of energies, sort of 1, 2, 3 punches, and things that we can't even foresee now, psychic that we are. I think even our little peaks around the corner may not completely predict how this is going to play out. With Uranus in the mix, I think there could be some very odd occurrences that we even us, Susan, we say we didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
but I think agree. Again, in the larger scheme of things, he's going to not be here.
Yeah, right. He's just not. It's rudderless. The Republican Party will be rudderless. Now, as far as like, I think you were intimating, implying about worldwide, like Putin goes out, what dominoes does that affect in the world? And I think it really has well, obviously it has an impact on Ukraine, right? That's the first thing I think is it has an impact. I don't think Putin going out is going to just stop the war, but I think it's going to give a different point of negotiation. There's going to be a different type of negotiation. And I think it's going to be, there's more room, right? Because right now Putin has got this kind of ego thing going where it's my way or the highway. The other thing, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think there's going to be a pretty dramatic realignment
around Ukraine or
around some of the other powers, like
or what?
Around Syria, Iran, some of I think that just the world order in terms of who's who, and I think some of those countries may already be coming with hat in hand, believe it or not. I mean, there's daily, hourly negotiation on these events in the Middle East. There are a lot of intense talks going on. I think that there's a little bit of fishing as well by some of these countries who know that Putin's not stable, and they may be looking to form other alliances. Behind the rhetoric, people are looking to save their countries and leaders are looking to save their skin. So I think we may see some interesting outcomes from the current spate of negotiation going on there. And we could see the people falling into line to cooperate and then realize later why that is.
Yeah.
But it could echo or even be similar to a realignment that happened after World War II and then again after the Soviet Union collapsed. Yeah. So again, these are part of these larger cycles playing out.
Shifts, right? So I think India, the funny thing is, China really was kind of posturing, right? A little differently toward us about 6 months ago. And now Biden, somebody from Biden's administration is there. And you see there's a different energy around China and the United States. I think the same thing with India. I think these countries are like trying to guess who's going to have the power and who do we need to be nice to, And I feel like, and I swear I would not say this if I didn't think it, Biden and the United States is coming out as on top. Look at our stock market. The guides told you guys there wasn't going to be a recession. Everybody said there was going to be a recession. The guides said there's not going to be a recession. My God, what kind of magic voodoo is Biden even doing, right? How are we pulling this off? So I think it's making a lot of these countries go, okay, America still got the mojo. We need to renegotiate our position. I think the same thing with Iran. I'm going to say it again. Iran is like, okay, we're sorry. We didn't mean it. Whatever. We don't know, right? Whatever. They want a pot shot. They want to take pot shots at us, but they don't want a war with us. Now, also, Americans don't want a war. Democrats don't want a war. Republicans don't want a war. There is no energy to support a war, period. Biden doesn't want a war. I don't see a war. May we do something like, some kind of send a message? Yes, but I don't see a war. What do you get?
I don't see a war either. Again, I just get there's a tremendous amount of activity. Secretary Blinken, I think, is living over there and doing shuttle diplomacy between all these countries. And it feels like it's a pretty broad agenda. It's and there are a lot of things are on the table, including what happens after Russia goes away or Russia changes leadership. It doesn't go away. So I think we're going to see that some progress has been made on many fronts, not just in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And that and again, that is due to this time-tested approach of diplomacy.
Yeah. I agree.
That Biden champions.
Do you see Buttigieg? I read this comment by Miss DL07. Do you see some genius coming forward with out-of-the-box diplomatic ideas for options to deal with provocations from the Middle East airstrikes? All of a sudden, I see Buttigieg as like a statesman, as getting out of Department of Transportation, moving into more of a aide to the Secretary of State. But I always thought he would be a great Secretary of State. How many languages does he speak? He's gone toe-to-toe with Fox News. If you can go toe-to-toe with Fox News, you can do anything. Do you see some kind of genius coming out that would help?
Well, the genius is already there. And I think for Buttigieg, I almost see him made some sort of czar. Like we had a drug czar or an energy czar. I see him being given a portfolio that's very specific to his diplomatic role. And it could be that because that could be quite quickly in the next administration, but because it might be hard to get his confirmation or to seat him, he may be put in sort of through, another mechanism. But he definitely has an amazing career. There's almost Lincoln energy around him, and I don't say that lightly.
He's a brilliant guy to have just come from being a mayor in a small town, America, to being Secretary of Transportation. I mean, that's a pretty big jump. But I definitely think I do see Biden in January, maybe not this year because it's dicey. It's really dicey. But in January, after he wins in 24, I see him kind of freshening up the cabinet. People go out, people come in, perhaps even Beto O'Rourke comes in some position. If we could somehow, get Stacey Abrams to come in, Pete could move around. I really feel like Biden is going to bring some really young energy into his cabinet. I do want to ask, this is a little bit of a sensitive question, but our defense of our Secretary of Defense, I can't remember his name right now, the guy that's being treated with
prostate
cancer. Look, this is bad. I mean, this is bad. We lost Navy SEALs. Now we've lost service members. I just don't have a good feeling for this guy. I don't know if he's just out of it because he's trying to deal with this life and death thing, or even if it is a life and death thing, it certainly would require a lot of your attention. I hope he steps down. I think it would be the best thing for him to do is just to step down and say, I just need to deal with my health. I don't know what that is about. I'm not sure that Biden is going to do anything. Do you get a sense? Lloyd Austin. Thank you, Lloyd Austin. Yes.
Those talks are already underway, and I think timing is already underway. And it's an unfortunate set of events. It's just an unfortunate situation for everyone involved. For those families that lost their sons
and daughter.
When a daughter was there were I didn't know that. So it's unfortunate and not unfortunately, but the buck stops with him.
The buck stops with him, and because he and I at first when he was in the hospital and he didn't tell Biden, my first thought was I'm not going to place judgment on this because if it's delicate, right? Like I don't. This is security. This is national security. But I do think that once they learned that our top guy is weak, that's when they struck. I really do. I think that's why they struck, and I think that's when they struck. We can't have that. I'm sorry, we just can't have it. So, all three from Georgia. That's terrible, Ted.
I'm moving on.
Rock on.
Well, we did talk about Lloyd Austin last time. And again, just this unfortunate set of circumstances. And I think him stepping down clears the way for much more clarity and action and a fresh start all around.
Yep.
Might even be a woman.
Oh, all right. Let's do it.
Prince Charming's mom, Wisconsin here. And I'll disclose, Susan already knows this about me. I'm a proud Wisconsin native. When does Ron Johnson go away in an orange jumpsuit? It's especially galling for those of us who grew up in Wisconsin in the, one of the most progressive states in the Union in its day. Not so much now after Scott Walker. For entertainment purposes only. It's just a matter of time. All these people are going away. They're going away, whether it's to a lakeside cottage or an orange jumpsuit or to a prison. I think that he might be harder to pin something on. I think that he won't sleep easy initially. I think that there will be something pursued, but for some reason, I'm not sure he's going to face charges.
I don't think so either. 1-800-SPIRIT Guides, press 1 for complaints. I could be wrong, and I'd be happy to be wrong. But there's so many, you guys, there's so many people that are being investigated right now, that are getting target letters right now. And, I think that Jack Smith and the powers that be want to take the absolute 100% no-brainer ones and get those people wrapped up with an indictment. And if he has to work, if it's going to take a lot of extra work and effort and money, why, like you always say, Alan is always saying, especially in this thing, low-hanging fruit. If you've got all these people right here that you can easily get indicted, then go for them. And then once you do them, then you can move to the next level and the next level. Maybe Ron Johnson, like you said, he's not going to sleep easy. He's not. Don't think he's getting off with anything. I wouldn't say to you that any of these people are getting off with anything, because on one hand, they've got Jack Smith sniffing around. On the other hand, they got whoever paid them or is their backers sniffing around. They're not in a good place. They're not in a safe place.
And there's a magnitude here of what they're pursuing. There's an intelligence. There's a method to the mania.
Yeah, there's a method to the mania, and we don't know all the mania. They're playing 5D, transcendental chess, and they're over there. The Republicans are playing checkers, right, on the street corner. So.
And W, just another proud Wisconsinite, grew up in Wisconsin during the Proxmire days when we had a Democratic governor, and the Republicans let him keep his power. It was a golden time. I have to tell one personal story. Growing up in a small town in Wisconsin in the 60s, I'm walking to school, grade school, and there was a campaign sign for Patrick Lucey, who was Governor Lucey, and it said Lucey for governor. And I'm in second grade. I'm like, that woman gets around. I swore it was for Lucille Ball. That's the only Lucy I knew.
Oh my God! I thought you were going to say Charlie Brown's Lucy.
No, Lucy for governor. And I thought,
oh, Lucille Ball. Oh, Lucille Ball is going to be our governor.
Anyway, that's sort of a dad joke. Sorry,
I can beat that. When I moved to Texas, we had a female governor rode a motorcycle with a silver beehive named Ann Richards.
And yep.
Look, nobody can beat that.
Ann Richards was amazing.
Yeah, so I thought, hey, this is a great state. I love this place. And then, then we had GW. Kimmy G, we've already talked about Cori Bush. If you come in late to this, you might want to, when we're done, start over and see what we covered before you were able to be with us.
All right, your turn, dear. Spin the wheel.
Oh, boy. I'm going to do this one. Imelda Sandoval says, what about Supreme Court Clarence Thomas and wife? Any accountability coming soon? What a wily energy. Really and truly, I think Thomas and McConnell are the two people that I have a hard time predicting because they don't follow the energy, right?
You said wily?
Wily, meaning
Wow.
wily, like
Yep, yep.
not hard to pin down. But I do think, look, we can't get, like Alan said earlier, I always say, I've seen how this movie ends and I like the ending. If I didn't like the ending, I wouldn't be talking to you from this background. I would be in another country. I don't know how we get there, but we do get there. So knowing how it ends, I just don't think we can get there with Thomas still on the Supreme Court, because something has to change there. I see that Biden is very reluctant to expand the Supreme Court, even though I don't know why, because we have 11 district courts. We really should have 11 Supreme Court justices to match the district courts. So there's a lot of things that just make sense about expanding the Supreme Court, but he seems reluctant to do it. So what I feel like is Clarence Thomas, I've often seen a potential health issue. Jenny, I see a potential legal issue, maybe even some sort of criminal issue, allegedly. Timing is impossible for me.
Yeah, and again, this is going to be a long fuse on a lot of these issues. They're not going to be solved overnight. They're focusing on the major structural threats to our democracy and the foreign threats, and it's going to get done. But I see us. I think we talked about this, Susan. There could be trials or indictments well into, some of this stuff playing out well into subsequent administrations. It just takes a long time.
But those trials are not Trump. We don't see Trump.
Correct.
He doesn't have the physical constitution, right? He doesn't have the physical health to withstand this kind of pressure. So I don't see Trump. I mean, and that's actually, in my opinion, like I'm getting robbed. I'm getting robbed of justice. Truly. I think the American people, this man is the first type of his kind for us. And I think the American people, and perhaps anybody that might even be thinking about following his footsteps, should see him go through the court system. I think it'd be good for democracy, but I just don't see it happening because I just don't think he has the mental or the physical constitution to make it. But I think Alan is right in the sense that the same way they're still finding and arresting people that were in Jan 6. So that will be continuing for years. So you might like 2 years from now, 3 years from now, there might be a court case with a certain congressperson. They may not be in Congress anymore, but their court case is going to come up, because justice does take a while. I mean, we have to give people time to figure out what they're being charged for, get their own discovery, get their own attorney. I mean, we're not as much as we've almost become one, we're not a banana republic yet.
No, and these are momentous events, and they're going to take time to play out. Again, we've talked about them being Shakespearean, and it's not a 10-part Netflix series. It's going to play out over time.
It will be in 20 years, but right now.
Now, who do you want to play you?
Yeah, I don't know. You'll have to tell me because I don't know anybody. Very interesting. Interesting.
Susan, sorry to interrupt. Someone mentioned that Merrick was taken away in an ambulance and is having spine surgery.
Oh, geez, Louise. No, that is too on the nose. That is too on the nose. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? He doesn't have a spine. Somebody look that up on the news.
That's for entertainment purposes only.
Somebody look it up on the news and let us know if that's correct.
Well, there's that.
Will he be back or pass the torch? And if so, whom? Isn't it fascinating that Lloyd Austin had surgery and disappeared, and now Merrick is having surgery and disappearing? Gosh, you know what? Were we together when I saw Merrick? Didn't we talk about this, Alan? That we didn't see Merrick being the DOJ.
You're right. It's an opportunity for him to say, I'm exhausted, I'm tired.
Yeah. And because we talked about Jack Smith is not taking that job. Jack Smith doesn't want that job. Jack Smith is doing his job. So somebody else is going to come in. Do you see
someone asked if it was Adam Schiff?
I think somebody did ask that. Adam Schiff.
But he is in line to become a senator.
I don't see Adam Schiff wanting that job. It's kind of a crappy job, y'all. I mean, they're gonna have to pay I don't even know what to get somebody to take that job.
I think they may have to put someone in fairly quickly. I think that it's a busy White House these days. I think that they may have to put someone in rather quickly. So it's interesting. Someone mentioned Jamie Raskin as an option for that as well. But I don't know how that works in terms of pulling someone out of a legislative position to take that. So it might be someone who...
I think it's somebody unknown. I mean, unknown, Okay. Hey, FFA is here. Touched by Tarot. Woo woo.
Hey, FFA.
Check out Touched by Tarot, y'all. Yeah, I don't... Who is Merrick's second in command? Now, I can see Biden just putting his second in command in, because that's easy.
I'm thinking it's going to be something that is structurally easy, or from a procedural standpoint easy.
Yes.
Something that might happen anyway, that he's sworn in. I shouldn't say he, it could be a woman who's also briefed on this. So it's fairly seamless. So his deputy, do we know who his deputy is? That person could become an acting AG until after the election.
Really? You think it's, okay, that's interesting. You think it's going to be all summer? He could be out. This is a little bit destabilizing to the DOJ. I mean, honestly, holy.
I don't know. It'll be seized upon. Certainly, it'll be seized upon by detractors to discredit the effort. But my sense is that the justice and much of the staff has already. That Merrick Garland is a fine gentleman, but he's been losing steam a little bit. So it might be more of a.
Monaco, a woman.
There we go.
There it is. Yeah, I like her energy. Thank you guys so much for doing the work for us. It is just a little too on the nose, isn't it, that Carlin is having spine surgery? I'm sorry, but my God. Okay.
But these people have been through the meat grinder.
No, it's true.
They have been subject to just incredible pressures, and also they're of a certain age. Stuff happens.
That's true too.
Stuff happens. So I don't see any. Are you saying there's some sort of funny business?
No,
I don't feel that.
I'm not seeing that, but it's almost like Spirit is saying, we really got to get this done. And you guys are not moving fast enough. So Lloyd Austin, you're going to have, it's just what I said earlier. There's this sense of Biden bringing all these young people in, younger people. These older people cannot withstand this meat grinder energy. It's just a barrage of horrible energy, right?
But they got it. But they got it to this point. They got it to this point.
They got us to this point.
They are going to step down. They're not going to barricade themselves in their office, and the torch will be passed. And again, I feel like it might not be as many hiccups as we think, because that's what I think. Because it's been it's been running itself anyway.
So this is a quick procedure, but I'm telling you guys, it's just like Alan said. His gas is petering out. This man has been on the front lines since the Oklahoma bomber. He's been on the front lines for a long time. I just think this type of energy right now is so intense that some of these people are just going to have to pass the torch.
It's not humanly. This is big, and it's affecting everyone. and everyone needs to take care of themselves, because that's what can happen with a stressful working condition.
What do you think about Lisa Monaco? What, I don't know anything about her, but what's your energy? What do you feel about her energy?
I think she's been doing much of this anyway. I think behind the scenes, I think she's been carrying a huge load. And I think that this has been discussed already. I think there are contingencies for all of these situations and that have been discussed. And I think she's going to do a fine job, and she may even move up through the ranks. I find that she's has also been a little frustrated with what she perceives as a more tentative pace. And I think that she's more in alignment with Jack
Smith. I agree. And I think it's interesting that these women are kind of stepping kind of more to the forefront. Yeah, changing with spirit is true. It could be true. Women handle these hectic situations. I don't know. It's just the divine feminine. I'm telling you, the energy suggests that the divine feminine is going to, well, look who's taking Trump out. I mean, look, Tish James, Fani Willis, E. Jean Carroll, the ladies from Georgia, the voting, a lot of women have stood up to Trump for the first time. So
I think we won't be seeing a lot more character shifts, cast changes in the administration until, I think they're trying to keep the status quo until we get through the fall.
Until we get through the election. Right. I mean, it's like they're just trying to keep this, car. We got our wheels are like, I just feel like the whole country's vibrating, and Biden has got his hand on the tiller with his, Ray-Bans on, and he's trying to get us to safety. And then after that, we can all breathe a sigh of relief and move on. Even his female attorney is taking him down. It's really true, actually. And I think Ivanka is going to take him down too. I think Ivanka is going to play a role. It's just women after women after women. Also, I want to say the guide said that Alvin Bragg is not done. They said this months ago. Apparently, he's queuing up something else for Trump. So, just when Trump thinks he's got one thing, like maybe Fani Willis, he thinks, oh, well, she's distracted. Alvin Bragg's going to bring something, Tish James. I mean, just, and what about Eileen Cannon? Let's talk about Eileen Cannon for a minute, because there's talk of her getting sanctions. And Jack Smith is apparently meeting with her. I've always felt like she's going to be leaving that judgeship.
She'll step down to preserve her law license.
What's that?
I believe she will step down to preserve her law license. And I think that it's tenuous for her now. And I think that people who are there are people who have been in a public office or a public setting, but the scrutiny and the pressure is off the charts. And I think that she doesn't want I'm not surprised people are getting sick. It's constant harassment. And I think it could be even her family is saying this isn't worth it. The ideology isn't worth it here. Right, but people are afraid to step back or say they're not committed, whether they took money or there's blackmail, until Trump falls. So I mean, we're all sort of waiting for that moment that ding dong, the witch is dead.
Nice. Thank you, moderators. I just want to say thank you, moderators. I really appreciate you guys. I totally agree. And I just want to say, look, every time they pull out somebody like Cori Bush, or every time they pull out somebody like Fani Willis, and I just want to say both of those ladies are Black, but whenever they pull out somebody like that to point at, trust me, give them 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, there will be 5 Republicans. They're just trying to distract. That's what they're trying to do.
When we talked about this tit for tat, that it's going to be competing news of the day. Well, what's the latest distraction? Deb Z asks, when will Mike Flynn be nabbed and prosecuted? He's so dangerous. He's using psyops on his followers.
It's true.
Slippery and evasive.
Yeah, he's a big deal. This is a big deal. Mike Flynn is a problem. Well, let's get deep. Let's ask.
Well, for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah.
Susan's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, because I'm already looking at the energy. I'm already thinking about August. I'm getting August. Something goes down for him. Yeah. Yeah, they're all over him. They're all over his energy. They're all over his emails, his communications. But I think Alan is right. He's slippery. He seems to understand, like a lot of these people do. They understand the Constitution and the laws on the books maybe better than anybody, because they slide between the laws. You know what I mean? They make it hard, slippery. They make it hard to get nailed. But he's not gonna. I see him being taken down by August or September. I really do.
I feel that they're giving him rope because there's enough hubris and delusion for entertainment purposes only, and his brother as well. There's enough sense that delusional. Is it a messiah complex? That I think they feel that if he is given enough rope, they'll be able to throw more at him. So again, it doesn't feel like much is going to escape this dragnet, and we may be disappointed ultimately how some of these, I wouldn't call him a minor player, but how some of the players, we would say escape justice, but I think it's going to be beautiful to see how much of this plays out. We're going to see karma, the boomerang. We're going to see the boomerang effects of cause and effect.
If nothing else, look, if this guy even just gets taken out of rotation, right? Who was that guy who had the internet show and the TV show who said all the terrible things about Sandy Hook?
Alex
Look,
Jones.
even if we take these people out of rotation, even if we take their money away, we take their ability to cause havoc within our country away, I'll be happy for that. I'm particularly irritated about Charles Flynn, the brother, because he's still in the military and he's in charge of the Pacific Fleet, which I think is particularly problematic. So that kind of really gives me indigestion, heartburn. So that's I believe that Biden, I agree with Alan's idea of the dragnet, right? I really feel like it's going to get all of these people. Maybe they don't all go to jail, but at least they're all going to pay so much money. They're going to be destitute. They're going to be panhandling on a street corner in Russia. That's what's going to happen.
I also think that they're paying attention to who he's working with, who's attracted to him, who's magnetized to him. So it's almost as if he's a honeypot in a way.
Yeah.
So they're able to catch more folks by letting him be out there. And it's true.
It's true. You're right.
But it's also true that he is a menace, and he's with the psyops and all that. But I think they've decided that that's a risk they can take in order to catch more.
They have to. Remember, the guides keep saying, the spirit guides keep saying, laws on the books. We're not going to get these people to step down because they're embarrassed. That's not going to happen. We have to get them with a law. And remember, the DOJ only takes you to court if they have over a 90% chance of winning. They don't take things to court that have an 80% or a 70%. It has to be over 90%. So I think Alan's right. Feed them the rope, because they're not going to pull the trigger on an indictment for anybody until they're, 90+% sure we're going to nail this person.
It also feels that the underbrush in which the sort of figurative underbrush in which many of these people have hidden or taken cover is starting to it's like the heat-seeking cameras from the helicopter. They're being smoked out. They're being flushed out. And the energy is just not supportive of them going forward. I think they're going to find any type of financial support or moral support or political support just drying up or withering. So they're just they're left in this pocket of kooks. I also think that some of these people are going to be bankrupted. And that's part of they may not go to jail.
Exactly.
But they're going to be bankrupted. They're going to be left with not a
zero.
Well, I know what your father would say. Not a pot to piss in. For entertainment purposes only. I think that that's another form of justice in a way, that type of restitution.
I agree. I totally agree. Look, take their money away, take away their prestige, take away whatever it is, take away their freedom, whatever works best, whatever lever we have to play. Just briefly, Reversed Images says, why do spirit guides and angels just overlook things as they get worse in politics, local, state, and personal? They're not in charge of us. We have free will. Check your ticket. Go look in the junk drawer where you put your ticket, where you came to this planet. Look at it real closely. It says free will. These are our lessons. These are our beautiful wonder. We pay good money to come here.
It's a big morality play.
It is.
And not only are we in charge, we're watching the choices. It's reflecting the choices and awarenesses we have, where we're watching what happens out there, choices people make. We're learning from others as well. And ultimately, I feel like it's instructing a whole new generation of people in terms of civics, in terms of the legal system. Just as Watergate encouraged many kids to go into journalism because of
That's a good point.
And maybe even into government service, I think we could see a real uptick in people who want to make a difference.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So instead of a morality play, another way you can say this is, remember when they were talking about the Jean Le Carre novel? Think about any kind of thriller movie that you've seen where the bad guy turned out to be the good person and the good person turned out to be the bad person. And you can go back to Shakespeare, or you can just go to our media and watch the media where things are confusing or surprising, thrillers. Look, you guys, it's the same thing. Humans are humans. We're always going to be doing things like this, unfortunately. The problem is that in this case, at this time, it involves our democracy. It's not just a celebrity doing something somewhere. It's a much bigger level.
The stakes are very high.
The stakes are much higher. Judge Engoron announced he is ruling tomorrow. And I think he's going to give it. I just heard he's going to give it to Trump. He's going to give it to him. It's just like, again, Trump could have got off with $5 million fine with E. Jean Carroll, but he had to continue. This is what he's done to Judge Engoron. He's continued to badger him, to be unprofessional, to be horrendous. Thank you, Toddy Jim.
Susan, what do you think the nature of this? I agree with you. They're going to hit him hard. But the nature of this type of suit about his worth and all that doesn't necessarily play in Peoria with MAGA. I would think, something like, you're right. A bad decision around the insurrection would fire people up. But do you think this is? No. I don't think people are going to care. No. We're going to be pleased that justice was served, but I don't think this is going to stir up his base.
No. And I want to talk about this because I want your take on this, because we've never talked about this before. But the spirit guides have been talking about this wound. Okay. So these men and some of these women, and they're mostly all white, but they have this wound. Okay. This wound of being replaced, right? this wound, a lot of these people, did you see this statistic with Jan 6 that a vast majority of them, I want to say a majority of the Jan 6 people that got indicted had back taxes due, had problems with the IRS? This wound, he's like them. He's like them. He's being prosecuted. He's being persecuted.
Persecuted. It's the
wound. There's this wound thing that they identify with him. It's not that they think he's a good businessman. It's none of that. It's that he's the white guy that's getting rung up by his ex-wife. He's the guy who the IRS is investigating. He's the guy who got screwed over in business. They identify with this wound thing.
Totally. And I think that they've captured his ability to move crowds have always flummoxed people who know his true nature. And here he speaks, they feel he speaks for them.
Exactly right.
And exactly right. Yeah. And he doesn't care about them.
No, he doesn't care about them, but he does. But he is the disruptor. So if he gets in, he's going to be the disruptor. He's going to disrupt things. And that's what they want, because they feel like they're not getting, they're not getting their precious attention that they've always gotten their whole lives anymore.
It's a traumatic childhood wound. This goes back, it's a lot. There's a lot of wounded people out there. And toxic masculinity. All this is coming up for consideration and review. For us to consider and review. Where are our wounds? Where are we triggered in issues of fairness and light and dark? And why? And so I was talking to Alan before we went live, and I don't get to watch Rachel Maddow, but I saw this little clip of hers on the internet where she talked about how Americans want a dictator. And this reporter went and asked these people at Trump rallies, do you think Trump is a dictator, and would you support him? And they said yes. So this is fascinating to me. I think this is something us psychics can go into. What is the psyche? What is the energy? What is the wound? What is going on here? Because Trump is obviously illuminating a lot of problems, right? But we're going to need to heal that wound. And I think a lot of it goes back to Reconstruction. It goes back to the Civil War. It goes back to racism. On one side, we have the wound of anybody who's not white. And on the other side, we have the wound of the white people who feel like they're being replaced. And in the middle, we have Native Americans who got screwed 7 ways to Sunday. We've got all these wounds. Is that the Chiron? Is that the wounded healer that America? It's like our wound is coming up, and we're like, oh, we've got a terrible wound here that we need to heal. How do we heal it? How do we heal this? By seeing the shadow side. We see it, honey. I see it. That's where we are. Who's in charge of the shadow? We're in the middle of seeing the shadow side of this country, and then what do we do about it? So like we did in the 60s, right? But we're seeing it again, right? Yeah. What's interesting too with the cycles, because I think the United States is having its Pluto return, which is supremely important. And that's going to be like the septic tank failed and the toilets are backing up, metaphorically. Septic tank failed. Okay, yeah. So right. Everything is coming up, and we have to deal with it. Also, 16 years ago, which I believe was when Pluto moved into Capricorn, and now it's just moved into Aquarius. 16 years ago was 2008, Obama, Hopium. Right. Also, the crash, the economic crash, 2010. But again, these things were happening in these. If we can see these things in cycles, and if we can learn from them, we can move forward in a more aware, constructive way, said Polly Allen. All right. Do you, what about, I don't think this is good. This is, to me, that's an easy one.
Why? Tell me why you think it's easy. Go ahead.
I just don't think I think any reactions, I may eat my words, but I think that as his power wanes, he just can't command the kind of servitude.
Oh, yes, I
that
agree.
he
Yes.
did. And so the whole idea that supply chain issues, there could be episodes, very discrete episodes, nothing chronic, where people lash out or lash back. But I just don't think he has that level of support.
No, I don't either. And I think that his support, it just sort of deflates. It's like, it just deflates. And I tell you guys, when your friends and family say they're all bad, Democrats are bad, Republicans are bad, I'm not voting for anybody, that's when you know we have won. That's when you know that MAGA has now waving the white flag and they're not going to go vote. That's good. That's a good thing. But I agree with you as far as like, the thing I see about supply chain issues, and I think you're right, it's going to be episodic, like little pain points, the guys are saying, like a little pain point, and not little, but I feel like going back to the kind of the attack, I can't say certain words, but let's say if somebody wanted to cause America a pain point, this is a good place to cause it, because when we go to the store and we can't find something, that makes us mad. If you can't find meat or you can't find vegetables because of a supply chain problem, that is a pain point, and that causes politicians problems. So I think that'll
be a hard one to pin on the Democrats. I think it's going to come back to bite. So many of these stunts are coming back to bite them because they're poorly done. I'm more concerned with the misinformation. I agree
with you. The misinformation is going to be insane going forward.
I wanted to. Oh, dear sweet Lisa Foster. God bless you.
Okay, whoever's got Valium, just pop it now. Who's got a prescription? If you're doing this legally, for you guys that are in states that can, smoke up, go ahead, do what you got to do. What are you going to say, Alan? Come on, Polly Allen, instead of Pollyanna.
Lisa. I think we need to, and this does sound like Stuart Smalley, but, use this energy. This is super, super powerful energy coming in with Pluto. It has the opportunity to transform. It's a bulldozer. So things are going to change. We chose, as I said, we were made for these times. We're here because we're supposed to be here. We chose to be here at some level, and let's figure it out to the best of our ability and see what we can, I don't even want to say salvage, see what we can create from this. Some of the most creative times were after great traumas, the Depression, the World Wars. There were opportunities to create in a new way. We're going to have to create in a new way in the Ukraine, in the Middle East, in Russia, in this country. We're going to have to build new institutions in a way, new ways of governing, new ways of taking care of people. Let's make that exciting as opposed to fear-based.
Yeah, because if normal is what allowed us to have Trump, we don't want to go back to normal. This is really illuminating our problems. Mm-hmm. It's illuminating our big, issues that our shadow, we just didn't know was there. So I think we're going to have a new normal. And for whatever reason, the spirit guides were saying it's going to blow. You're talking about Pluto or something. They're talking about blowing your socks off. And then they said, or your bras. I'm not sure what they're talking about, but I'm pretty sure. Imagine just all of our bras just blowing up. I mean, I don't know what that's about. Okay. Anyway,
Pretty.
May
We can't end on that.
I don't think we could. You guys, you boys are always talking about blowing your underwear out. Women can blow their bras out.
I do not always talk about that.
I was just using you as a figurehead.
Okay.
Anyway, Mayorkas being impeached. This is more Mickey Mouse stuff that makes me just want to pull my hair out. It's distraction, guys. It's distraction.
Someone said it's trauma bonding. That was from Luminous Light Work. It's trauma bonding. These people are bonded by their trauma, their childhood trauma, their unresolved shadow side. And there's some great stuff on YouTube about going deep, digging deep. And I think that we should all avail ourselves of doing our shadow work. It's not pretty, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
We have to do it. We don't have a choice, you guys.
We don't.
Let me just tell you, the light is being shown on all the ugly. And we're going to have to really say, gosh darn, right? Like, we might just have to sit and be uncomfortable, right? While an indigenous person tells us how they feel and how they continue to be treated. We might have to sit here and feel uncomfortable. How Black people tell us, look, you can't see it. Gay people, Asian people, trans. We're just going to have to sit and kind of be okay with this chaos and this uncertainty and all the emotions and the emoting. I don't even like emoting. It's like, for the love of God, can we just get this over with? But anyway,
I can confirm that in spades. This isn't.
Stop crying. Get up. Trump is still president. Get up off the ground. Get off the floor.
Oh, you'd be surprised, people. This is an experiment in democracy, and can we see each other as fellow citizens? We're so polarized, and does that reflect our own light and dark, our own inability to blend ourselves internally? That's a big reach, but I think can we see each other as citizens who work together, like that, using that marriage analogy? Are we a couple? Do we see really true. Do that we see ourselves in a relationship? And it's going to involve hard work.
I don't know. It's going to involve drugs, alcohol, hard work. I don't even know what I have to do to be married.
I think separate bathrooms, separate
separate residences. I don't know.
To a healthy relationship.
Why are we married? I don't know. Anyway.
Well, the hour is drawing to a close.
And chocolate, I agree. Oh, Lord. Everybody's saying how good you are, Alan. Don't tell him his head is going to get even bigger.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, possums. We've had some great comments. There are a few people who've had readings with me, and thank you. I enjoyed you as well. It's fascinating work we do. This is very, very interesting work we do, and it's very rewarding.
It is very rewarding. But I want to say.
But enough about Susan.
I do want to sometimes I just want to put a crash helmet on and goggles. You know what I mean? Like, it just, on top of the people, the energy, right? The energy feels sometimes, to me as an empath, it just feels really untenable, really and truly. Alan in the front row.
Well, I'm sorry, I interrupt. I'm always interrupt. I'm talking over you.
No, you're waving over me. That's okay. I acknowledged your waving.
Do you think that when more information comes out about foreign powers who have sought to destabilize us, could that be a uniting force for us? In a way, I mean, not like 9/11 necessarily, but if it comes out and it's very clear that we've been played, do you think that could bring us together as a country, as citizens, as Americans?
That we've been played? You think that's going to help?
Well, that elections have been,
Oh, I see. Right.
We've been played for.
Okay, yeah, I'll get you. I get you. Okay, so it's the same thing like when the guy was driving along the border, videoing the reality and then putting it out there for everybody to see, right? Like the media has played us, right? Yeah, I agree with you. You know what? That is a good thing to end on because I agree with that. Again, the Venn diagram, the two circles in the middle. There's a lot of things, you guys, that Democrats and Republicans agree on. Look at Nikki Haley, right? I find myself agreeing with her a lot, like scares me, but it happens. So, I do think we have more in common than we think we do, right? And I think it's just the media that's divided us, right? I don't think we're as divided. And you know what else the guides are saying is these politicians don't really represent the majority, right? They really don't because of the gerrymandering. They're really representing a very small minority. That's kind of the problem here. Really, me too. I'm believing that all these people are my enemy or crazy or whatever. And the truth of the matter is, I think if we all sat down together, we could probably really come up with some pretty decent compromises.
Let's hold energy for that then. I know, again, it's not analogous, but the twin towers going down, that created quite a bit of unity. That also could go sideways in terms of rah-rah stuff and anti Islamic stuff. But I think that there is an opportunity for us to pull together in a way that could surprise us all. What if we all got behind building a new society, building a new country, rebuilding?
Right. And I agree. I'm not saying don't even ask me about Liz Cheney. I'm not saying Nikki. I thought he was going to cut the power.
Liz Cheney, penalty bell. Susan, we don't have that kind of time tonight.
Listen, but I do want to address, I'm not saying Nikki Haley is, I wouldn't vote for her. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, however, I think that if you took Nikki Haley and you backed her up to maybe 10 years ago, she would be more moderate. She would be a Mitt Romney. She's just trying to tell these crazy people what she thinks they want to hear, but I think they're all wrong. I really think they're all wrong. I think they're misreading the average American because the polls aren't doing the job and the gerrymandering doesn't show the real votes. They're going to find out this. They already found out in New Hampshire. Those people didn't even come out to vote. It's a different story, guys. I think there's good reason to be calm. There's good reason to know that we're in good hands. Everything is going to be fine. I really do. I would tell you if I didn't think so.
So are we?
Right. They wrote in Biden in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, dear? And then
I think we have a side gig as marriage counselors.
No. Y'all don't want me to counsel your marriage. That would be like.
We'll start with a trust.
You go to Home Depot, you get a doghouse. You put it in the backyard. You throw out his comforter and his best pillow and a TV, run a wire out there. He'll be fine. It's probably not going to go over well.
Just an idea.
Just an idea. I already got fired from my first marriage counseling gig. But I like Alan's, I like the idea of it's true. We're in a marriage, whether we like it or not, you guys. We're all citizens of the United States.
Kevin said it's time for the 8 ball.
Okay. What does the 8 ball say?
Kevin Lewis. What's the question, Kevin Lewis? Don't wear this. Is it you're going to wear the sweater set tomorrow, Kevin? Oh, look good.
It looked good. Okay. That looked good. Wear the sweater set. Okay. Love it. Thank you, guys. We're classmates. It's true. We're in some kind of cohort. It's called Citizens of the United States of America. Whether it's a class, a marriage, a bondage, I don't even know what it is at this point.
And Susan and I are committed to doing this, and it's fun. It's fun doing this with Susan.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Or are you saying we're going to be committed? No, we're committed to doing this. And let's see what this feels like as we move in through the spring, into the summer, into the fall. And please work with us and remind us what we've been saying. I think we have a thread of something here. I think this could be a really interesting exercise as we move into the fall and through the rest of the year. I mean, and again, in like governance building, society building, I think we'll come up with some ideas as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
the bottom line is we're going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. But you've got to take good care of yourself. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's the most important thing. I need you guys to take care of yourselves so that we can all vote in November. So if nothing else, take good care of yourself. Take good care of your mental health, your physical health, your energy health. Love on you. We're going to send beautiful light out into the world, and that's going to help everything be better.
And hold a space for love and peace.
Yeah, hold space for love. But I think you start with yourself. You hold space with love and peace for yourself. The guides told me, you can say, I want to pray out love and peace, love and peace. That's one kind of energy. But when you bring it in here and you start from here, I am love and peace. I am love and peace. What you're bringing out is bigger. It's bigger. It's more powerful.
I also like the affirmation, I trust in the process of life.
I trust in the process of life. I'm going to get that tattooed on my derriere right now, you guys.
Well, that brings our show to a close.
That brings our show to an end. Thanks, everybody.
Welcome to my world.
Take really good care of yourselves. We'll see you again real soon, somewhere. Probably here, hopefully not
right here.
From a jail or something, or another country. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Don't worry.
I have plans.
I'm freaking Alan can't handle it. It's gonna be fine, y'all.
We're all gonna be fine. We're all gonna be fine.
Yeah.
All right. Much love.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.